five onions.
Okay.
Mid size, not very big, not very small, mid size.
Yeah.
And yeah.
எக் கறி நான் சொன்னேன்ல செய்கிறதுக்கு நான் வரதுக்குள்ளே அவர் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிட்டாரு. பேன் வச்சுட்டு கொஞ்சம் எண்ணெய் ஊற்றி கடுகு போட்டுட்டு
இல்லை ஃபஸ்ட்டு பேன் போட்டு ஆயில் போட்டு ஆயில் கொஞ்சம் சூடாகணும்.
ஓகே.
சூடான பிறகு லோ ரொம்ப சிம்மில் வச்சுக்கணும். சிம்மில் வச்ச பிறகு அனியன் கட் பண்ணிட்டு ரெடி ஆகும். ஆயில் வந்து கொஞ்சம் ஸ்மோக் விட ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது மஸ்டர்ட் போடணும்.
ஓகே.
ஒரு 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 இந்த கை ரெண்டு கை போடணும்.
ஓகே.
அதுக்கப்புறம் அனியன் கட் பண்ணிட்டு உள்ளே போடணும்.
ஓகே.
அப்போ திருப்பியும் வந்து போட்ட பிறகு ஹையில் வச்சிடணும்.
ஓகே.
ஹையில் வச்சு இது பண்ணணும், இது ஃப்ரை பண்ணணும் அனியனை.
ஓகே. அதுக்கப்புறம்
அனியன் நல்லா ப்ரௌன் ஆன பிறகு திருப்பியும் ஸ்டோவை வந்து சிம்மில் எடுத்துட்டு வந்துடணும். ஸோ அது அப்படியே அது will keep cooking like that. Nice and thing. And bring it back to one. இப்போ வந்து ஜிஞ்சர் garlic paste எடுக்கணும். ஜிஞ்சர் garlic
பாத்தீங்களா அவர் எப்படி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றாரு பாத்தீங்களா? சூப்பரா எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றாரு பாருங்க. நான் வீடியோ மட்டும் எடுக்கிறேன், அவரே எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி சொல்லிடுவாரு.
எடிட்டிங் எல்லாம் மிஸ்டர் உங்க ஹஸ்பண்ட் இஸ் சூப்பர் டூப்பர் இன் தட். Now it's just an estimation of
ginger garlic வந்து இன்னும் தனியா இருக்கு.
So you put 1 full spoon of ginger.
Okay.
And just another quarter.
Okay.
Of that, if you want, if you think it's too little, you can drop a little more.
Okay.
And then finish off that, and you take the garlic. Okay. And you put same amount of garlic, just like the ginger you put. Okay. If you think it's less, drop a little more inside like that, because garlic is good for health. Correct.
பாருங்க எப்படி டிப்ஸ் எல்லாம் சொல்றாரு பாத்தீங்களா?
So now, as it's on sim, you take it and start mixing the ginger garlic into the onions. And you got to mix it nicely so it becomes like a paste, like a chutney. Similar like chutney, but it has to become a paste. And underneath, if you see it's getting burnt, you just got to scrape that out, because all that onion thing has been getting burnt. So you got to scrape that out, so that gives the flavor for it. You got to mix this nicely so that the ginger, garlic, onion, oil and mustard mix together nicely. And then you got to keep it like that. And then now it's raw. Now the ginger is raw still, it has to cook. Okay. And so now you got to increase the stove again. Bring it to high, so that you want to speed up the cooking now.
Okay.
So then you let it has to, this ginger smell and garlic smell has to go from that.
Okay.
So once you do that, you just have to wait for a few minutes. You can estimate probably 2 to 3 minutes before the smell of the raw ginger and garlic goes away. And you keep it on high for a few minutes.
Okay.
So, and then as you keep it on high, you can see it's getting burnt underneath. So what you have to do is, to get that burnt out, you've got to pour some more oil, and you've got to get it more nicely. So you got to pour a little more oil in all corners, and bring that oil back along.
கண்ணு முடிக்கங்க ஆயில் ஊத்துறதெல்லாம் பார்க்க கூடாது. கண்ணு முடிக்கங்க.
You got to pour the oil, because this oil you can pour enough, because it's olive oil and it's good for health. It's not sunflower oil or cooking oil or palm oil, which is not good for health. Olive oil, the amount you take is pretty good for health. It's good for the heart. So you can. It depends upon how much you want to put. If you think olive oil is not good, then you don't have to include so much of oil. And then you got to get that paste. So now what happens now? Almost 4-5 onions, it's become like only 1.5 onion.
Okay.
If you get the paste nicely. And if you can feel, you must be able to feel the smell gone. This is a very simple cooking, not like my mother-in-law who is recording. She is a very good cook. I am just doing very light, simple way. So now what you have to do is bring it back to sim, because you pour the oil, bring it back to sim, and then you get all your masalas ready so that you can put the masalas in. So you get your coriander powder.
Okay.
This is coriander powder. You get your saffron powder. And you get your chili powder. So you don't need anything else. Because as I said, my mother-in-law's cooking, she'll put
Malagatul, Daniyatul, Manjaltul.
Yes. So what you got to do is you got to drop whichever one you want to drop first. You can drop. So you put this one. It's a teaspoon. You got to put, because you're going to put. So you're just judging and putting 3 spoons. Now it's going to be a little spicy, but that's okay. We can always manage that if it becomes too spicy. So the coriander powder, you do the same thing, but instead of putting 3 spoons, you just put 2 spoons, because towards the end you will be adding coriander again. And then
Manjaltul.
you put the saffron powder.
Manjaltul.
Yes. So saffron powder you can put. Saffron powder is very good for health. It kills the cancer cells in your body, and it's very good for your tummy, especially for your gut health. It's very good. Okay. So that's what I said. My mother-in-law's cooking is different, and I cook different. So my mother-in-law, if you see oil, she'll use less. Saffron, she'll use less, because saffron is known all around the world as a medical property. You need to put saffron to a certain extent, not too much where you get jaundice, but you must put to a certain extent. Now it's getting burnt, so you got to. Now it has to cook a little.
ஒரு மாதிரி ப்ரௌன் கலராக வெங்காயமே மறுபடியும் வதங்கிடுச்சு.
Next, you get the, after you put the onion thing and the ginger garlic paste and mixed it, wait for the smell, the raw smell to go, and then you drop your onions and, I mean not onions, I'm sorry, tomatoes in. I can't, my mother-in-law's finish quicker, but I'm a little slow.
எவ்வளோ ஆயில் மார்க்கு பாருங்க, நிச்சயமாக சொல்கிறேன், நான்லாம் இவ்வளோ ஆயில் ஊற்றுவேன். எனக்கு இவ்வளோ ஆயிலெலாம் ஊற்றுறதுக்கு மனசே வராது. மசாலா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 10 minutes 15 minutes-ஆகவே வதங்கிட்டு இருக்கு எண்ணெயில்.
6 tomatoes, you have to cut it up small and just drop it in all over the corner of the thing with all the juice. You got to get the juice. If you leave the juice out, then you're missing out the tomato juice.
5 பெரிய வெங்காயம் இல்லையா, 5 பெரிய வெங்காயம், 6 தக்காளி, 6 பெரிய தக்காளி, இவ்வளோ பெரிய தக்காளி, சின்ன தக்காளி எல்லாம் இல்லை, இவ்வளோ பெருசு. சின்னதாக இருந்தால் கிட்டத்தட்ட 10 வேணும் இல்லையா, 10 வேணும்.
So now you can see the after you put the thing, you can see the paste, the oil and the water mix. So it's giving you that good look of things cooked underneath. So now you can raise it up again, and you start mixing the tomato along with the all the stuff. And again, it's getting caught underneath, so you got to just slightly rub that because the masala is got burnt.
நானுமே உங்கள் எக் கறி சாப்பிட்டதில்ல, தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் சாப்பிட போகிறேன்.
வாங்க சாப்பிடுங்க. ஆனால் உங்கள் அளவுக்கு டேஸ்ட்டாக இருக்காது.
பார்க்கலாம்.
பட் ஏன்னா இது வந்து ஜஸ்ட் ஃபாஸ்ட் குக்கிங், ஸோ அதனால் வந்து it will take a little time, but we'll get there, hopefully. You can see the tomato joining with the onion, garlic, ginger and all the masala that we added, and you can see the tomato. Why we cut it up small is so it has to gel into the other onions and all the other stuff.
தக்காளி பொடியா கட் பண்ணிரணும், அப்பதான் மசிஞ்சு உங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் மசாலா கூட சேர்றதுக்கு சரியா இருக்கும்.
So you can see it's joining with the masala.
ஏற்கனவே எங்க வந்து பாயில் பண்ணிட்டு
கட் பண்ணி
உரிச்சு ரெண்டா கட் பண்ணி எடுத்து வச்சிருக்கு குழம்புக்காக.
Now you got to again, this has to same like how we did the onion, ginger, garlic paste and the masala that we put, and we let it cook for 5-10 minutes.
Tomato oda raw smell போகணும்.
Yeah, so now we got to cook the tomato also so that the raw smell goes, and we start getting the smell that we need to get.
தண்ணியெல்லாம் ஆட் பண்றதில்ல.
தண்ணி வந்து not now only, like once we find the tomatoes again starting to cook nicely,
okay,
அப்புறமா வந்து maybe இதுல வந்து முக்கால் கிளாஸ் ரெண்டு முக்கால் கிளாஸ் ஊற்றணும்.
ஓகே,
அதுக்கப்புறம் அது நல்லா கொதிக்க வைக்கணும். கொதித்த பிறகு when you can put the salt and taste it.
okay,
taste பண்ண பிறகுனா if you feel it's cooked, then for 3 minutes or 5 minutes you just, because the eggs are already cooked, you just have to drop the eggs, okay, and one bubble after that, then it's ready. இல்லைன்னா அது வந்து ஸ்மாஷ் ஆகிடும்.
ஓகே,
that's it, simple தக்காளி சட்னி. So now what you got to do is you got to raise it. It's nice and high now. You got to wait for it so that the raw tomato gets cooked.
ஒரு 5 minutes ஆகும். நல்லா கொதிக்கட்டும். கொதிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் திரும்ப மறுபடியும் ஆயில் காட்டுறேன். கிட்ட போய் அதை மட்டும் காட்டுங்க.
So now you can see the tomato still not smashed and not cooked. Some are getting smashed, so you got to keep mixing and send the ones that are not smashed down actually, so that it starts bubbling. And then you probably now raise it for 5 and then put it on 5, let it bubble. So it has to nicely bubble and it should get into a takali base. It's still there. You've got to pour the water now inside. Take a clean glass. Full glass, 2 glasses, and just keep pouring it around like that. And then another 2 glass. If you see the consistency, if it's still thick, you can pour more water. But what you have to do is after you pour 2 glasses, you got to feel the consistency. So it is already watery. You don't need any more water. So now you have to put a cover and make it bubble now, so that it bubbles. After it bubbles, then we can put some salt. After we put salt, we taste it and see if it's cooked. And then we drop the eggs in. And after we drop the eggs in, we bubble it again for 2 minutes and the food is ready. Now we put now we just got to cover it and let it bubble, just not too much so that it doesn't fall out, just lightly so that there's space for steam to go out. And raise it a little. You can raise it to full now. because there's water in it. Salt, you can put rock salt, that's best, or you can put iodized salt, but you got to measure and put, see how much is enough, because too much of salt can also injure the spice, the taste of the thing. So you got to put like 2 spoons and probably a little more, that's it. So that'll be ready, and after that we got to mix it. Mix it so that the salt gets dissolved along with the tomato gravy, and just probably 2 or 3 times to mix it, and then let it raise it again to 4, and then wait for it to bubble for 1 minute, and then drop the eggs in. So we'll wait for 1 minute and drop the eggs in again. Thank you. It's a little less spicy. So if you want to drop some more, you can drop, but you're getting the tomato, the taste along with the masala, so it's got that Tamil on the kick in so long. It's got the kick. So now we drop. Now we drop the eggs in, and we lower it. When we're dropping the eggs, we got to lower the thing, because the egg, as you drop it, you shouldn't break the eggs. So you got to drop it carefully along the edges, like that. So the egg starts. If it didn't cook properly, it'll properly cook. And now it's on sim now. You bring it to sim totally, because you just need to give it one last bubble before it's ready to eat. So you should try and drop it with the yolk facing upwards, so that the yolk doesn't get smashed. Because once you put it in and then you start to mix, then there's a possibility of the yolk getting broken.
மஞ்சக்கரு உடையாம இருக்கணும்னா கட் பண்ணதுல மஞ்சக்கரு மேல பாகமா பார்த்துட்டு இருக்க மாதிரி போடணும் குழம்புல.
So we are almost finishing with the eggs. Now I have to find space to put the eggs.
எப்பவும் பாயில் பண்ணதான், அதனால மஞ்சள் கரு வந்து கரைஞ்சிரும் இல்லைங்களா, அதனால கொஞ்சம் நம்ம மேல பார்க்குற மாதிரி போட்டோம்னா அதிகமாக கரையாது. கரையும் அப்பயும் லைட்டா, பட் அதிகமாக கரையாது. அவ்வளோதான்.
Now after this, I probably get my wife or my mother-in-law, because if I put and mix, I may break the egg. So we have to do 1 mix or 2 mixes. The eggs are a little too much for this one, but we'll try and mix it lightly so that it doesn't break up. Now what we're going to do, we're going to raise it now to 5. Bring it to high and then start cooking. If you want, you can pour just a little bit of water, so that it has thing to bubble. So you can just drop a little water around like that, and that's it. And then if you want, you can get my mother-in-law to mix, bring it around, and try and get the tomatoes to go over the eggs, so that the eggs go down and the tomatoes come up, so that the egg is going down to get 1 bubble, and once it gets 1 bubble, then you can you bring the tomatoes and send the eggs down. So you're trying to mix it without breaking the eggs. But as my auntie said, the chances of breaking is high. So you got to do it very lightly, because if you want to get the yolk to stay with the egg, then you're only trying to get the tomatoes to come up, and just trying not to break the eggs. So wherever you see, now this area, if you see, it's not mixed. So wherever you can see it's not mixed, just try and go down and bring that stuff up. Wherever you see it's not mixed, bring that stuff up. Bring that stuff up. So you're trying and bringing it up, and then slowly bringing this back and taking again from underneath and putting it to the side, so that the side ones go to the center. See, that one is broken now.
Broken.
So now we know, okay, if we do any more it will break. So we have to just keep it like that and wait for it to give a bubble, and one bubble, probably in 1 minute or 2 minutes, egg curry is ready.
In the egg curry, chapati, naan, paratha, variety rice, idli, rice, எல்லாத்துக்கும் வந்து suitable-ஆ இருக்கும்.
So it's almost getting there. If we get the consistency a little watery, it has to become a little bit more thick. So then it should be like this actually. So just a little more consistency it has to come. Once the consistency comes in, then we know it's ready. If it's like this is watery now. You got to get it more like that. So just one probably.
அடியில திக்கா இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். கலக்குனா சரியா இருக்காது.
We can do that also. We can mix it also and see.
Mix பண்ணா சரியா இருக்கும்.
It's all breaking up. That's the problem. As my mother-in-law told, you can see the oil medukkudu mele. So if you are afraid of oil, just use less oil. That's the way I cook. That's why. Of course,
அவரு ஊத்துற அளவுக்கு என்ன ஊத்தலைன்னா அந்த மசாலாலாம் அந்த அளவுக்கு வேகிறது, அவனின் அந்த அளவுக்கு வேகிறதெல்லாம் கண்டிப்பா முடியாதுன்னு தான் நினைக்கிறேன் நான். ஏன்னா நான் ஊத்துற ஆயில் எல்லாம் கம்மி. அதுல வந்து நான் என்ன இதுலயே வதக்குவேன். அவர் ஆயிலே வந்து வேக வைக்கிறேன். ரெண்டுக்கும் வித்தியாசம் இருக்கதா செய்யுது. ஸோ as it is இப்படியே ஃபாலோ பண்ணுறீங்க.
Not as good as my mother-in-law or my wife or my father-in-law. Because you never tasted his upma. Okay, we'll give one bubble now, uncle. 1 minute. Now we can raise a little, see if it comes for a nice little bubble, and then after it gets one big bubble, then we can just switch it off. So once you wait for the bubble to come, you mix some coriander and some mint together, mix it all together and wait for the bubble to come. And once the bubble gets bigger, then you know the stove is a little slow sometimes, or it's too fast. So now you can see slowly the bubbles are starting to come, because when it bubbles, the essence of the egg and the essence of the tomato has to mix into the egg. Only then you will still feel like you ate the egg curry. If not, it will be separate. That's why you want it to get a little thick, and you can start seeing that. Maybe now you can see the bubble coming. So now you know it's getting thick. So now you can slowly bring it to sim, and then after that, once you bring it to sim, you can see it's slowly starting to the heat is reducing, and the bubbles are also slowly reducing. Once you see the bubbles get smaller and gets thin, then you drop your mint and your coriander in it. So, and then you know that the egg curry is ready. So we're almost there. After we drop the mint and coriander, you can put a plate or a cover and cover it, so that it will cook a little more with that heat, so that we get that blend that we were looking for. Right now it's still a little watery, but we're almost there. Just have a look again. So I think we're almost there now. Yep. What do you think, uncle? That is good. Okay. Yeah, we're almost there. Now what we have to do is just drop, just like you drop the eggs, drop not all in one place, just get it around so that the coriander and the mint mixes into the curry, so that you get it so that it acts like a cover to the curry so that it cooks underneath. You can put all that. If you think there's a little that side, you can bring it back to side. Now what you got to do is you got to take a plate and cover it and let it cook with that steam, and you switch off. In the meantime, the tea is also ready.
கலவை சட்னி வதக்கினேன் இல்லைங்களா காமிச்சேன்ல, அதை அரைச்சது. இது கலவை சட்னி. இது வந்து ஆனியன் வெங்காய சட்னின்னு சொன்னேன்ல, அது வதக்கினது. இது வந்து புதினா கொத்தமல்லியா சட்னி. எல்லாமே ரெடியாக இருக்குது. இதெல்லாம் வந்து தட்டு இட்லிக்கு அந்த மாதிரிக்கு வச்சுக்கலாம் அப்படின்றதுக்காக எடுத்து வச்சுருக்கோம். பட் எக் கிரேவியும் சேர்த்து அதை சாப்பிட்லாம். அவ்வளோதான். இதெல்லாம் வச்சு சர்வ் பண்ண போகிறோம். சர்வ் பண்ணும்போது முடிஞ்சால் காமிக்கிறேன், இல்லைன்னா ஓகே. இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்துச்சுன்னா லைக் பண்ணுங்கள், ஷேர் பண்ணுங்கள், கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்கள். புதுசாக பார்க்குறீங்கன்னா சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் வாட்சிங். பாய்.